Welcome to Amazing Century, where we explore the most fascinating milestones of human history. Today, we'll dive into the incredible world of musical instruments, each an invention that has shaped the way we express emotions and tell stories through sound. From ancient flutes to modern synthesizers, these creations have revolutionized the way we experience music. Let's uncover the journey of these groundbreaking instruments. The flute, one of the oldest musical instruments, dates back over 40,000 years. Archaeological discoveries suggest it was first crafted by early humans in Europe, using materials like bone and ivory. Initially, the flute was used in rituals and ceremonies, believed to connect humans to the spiritual realm. Over time, its design evolved, with the modern flute perfected in the 19th century by Theobald Bohm in Germany. This innovation allowed for greater precision and tonal range. The flute became a cornerstone in classical music, folk traditions, and even jazz. Its ability to produce pure, ethereal sounds makes it timeless. Today, it remains a symbol of harmony and transcendence. The harp's origins trace back to ancient Mesopotamia around 3500 BCE. Known for its elegant design, it was often played in royal courts and religious ceremonies. The harp symbolized sophistication and divine connection. During the Middle Ages, its popularity spread across Europe, evolving into larger and more versatile versions. The introduction of the pedal harp in the 18th century revolutionized its capabilities, allowing musicians to play chromatic scales. The harp is celebrated for its angelic tones, often featured in orchestras and solo performances. Today, it remains an emblem of grace and artistic expression. The drum, one of the earliest musical instruments, dates back to around 6000 BCE, originating in ancient Mesopotamia and Africa. Initially crafted from hollow tree trunks and animal skins, drums were used in rituals, communication, and warfare. Over centuries, drums evolved into various forms across cultures, including the tambourine, taiko, and djem. In the modern era, the invention of the drum kit in the early 20th century transformed the role of drums in popular music. Drums provide rhythm and energy, forming the backbone of countless musical genres. From jazz to rock, the versatility of drums reflects their global significance in music. The organ, one of the oldest keyboard instruments, was first developed in the 3rd century BCE in ancient Greece. Known as the hydraulis, it used water pressure to control airflow and produce sound. Initially played at public events and gladiatorial games, the organ became a symbol of power and grandeur. By the 10th century, organs were adapted for church use, becoming central to Christian liturgical music. The Baroque era saw the organ's golden age, with composers like Johann Sebastian Bach elevating its status through intricate compositions. Over time, innovations such as the pipe organ and electric organ expanded its range and accessibility. The organ's ability to produce rich, layered tones made it a staple in both sacred and secular music. The lute, originating over 4,000 years ago in the Middle East, is one of the ancestors of modern string instruments. It was introduced to Europe through the Moors and gained immense popularity during the Renaissance. Early versions of the lute were small and simple. But by the 15th century, it had evolved into a refined instrument with more strings and frets. It became the favored instrument for court musicians and symbolized elegance and intellectual pursuits. Composers like John Dowland crafted iconic lute music that reflected the poetic sensibilities of the era. Although its prominence waned with the advent of newer instruments, the lute influenced the development of guitars and other string instruments. The violin, developed in its modern form during the 16th century in Italy. It was inspired by earlier bowed string instruments, such as the rebec and the medieval fiddle. Italian luthiers like Andrea Amati and later Antonio Stradivari refined its design, creating violins that are still considered masterpieces. Initially popular in folk music, the violin gained prominence in orchestras and chamber music during the Baroque period. Its wide dynamic range and ability to express deep emotion made it a favorite of composers such as Vivaldi and Beethoven. As the violin's reputation grew, it became a staple in numerous musical styles, from classical symphonies to modern pop and jazz. The piano, invented in the early 1700s by Bartolomeo Cristofori in Italy, revolutionized music with its unique ability to produce both soft and loud tones. Unlike its predecessors, the harpsichord and clavichord, the piano used hammers striking strings, allowing for dynamic expression. Initially called the fortepiano, it gained widespread recognition during the classical and romantic eras, thanks to composers like Mozart, Beethoven, and Chopin. The instrument's versatility made it a centerpiece in solo, chamber, and orchestral music. Over time, pianos were modernized with stronger frames and better materials, leading to the creation of grand and upright pianos. By the 19th century, the piano became a symbol of sophistication and culture in households worldwide. The saxophone was invented in 1846 by Adolphe Sax, a Belgian instrument maker, as a bridge between woodwinds and brass instruments. Combining a reed mouthpiece with a brass body, it produced a rich, versatile sound that quickly gained popularity. Initially designed for military bands, the saxophone became a staple in jazz, blues, and classical music by the 20th century. Its unique timbre allowed musicians to convey deep emotion, making it a favorite of legendary artists like Charlie Parker and John Coltrane. Saxophones evolved into various types, including alto, tenor, and baritone, each serving distinct musical purposes. The electric guitar was pioneered in the 1930s, with George Beecham and Adolf Rickenbacker credited as its inventors. It transformed the music industry by amplifying sound through electronic pickups, making it ideal for live performances and larger audiences. Initially embraced by jazz musicians, the electric guitar found its true home in rock and roll during the 1950s, with legends like Chuck Berry popularizing it. Over the decades, it became a symbol of rebellion and innovation, central to genres like heavy metal, blues, and funk. Iconic brands like Fender and Gibson introduced designs such as the Stratocaster and Les Paul, which remain industry standards. The synthesizer, first developed in the 1960s, marked a groundbreaking moment in music technology. Pioneers like Robert Moog and his invention of the Moog synthesizer redefined how sounds were created and manipulated. Synthesizers use electronic circuits to generate and modify sound waves, allowing musicians to produce entirely new and futuristic tones. They became a cornerstone of electronic music and had a profound impact on pop, rock, and experimental genres. Artists like Kraftwerk and Wendy Carlos showcased its capabilities, bringing synthesized music to mainstream audiences. Over time, advancements in digital technology led to compact and versatile synthesizers that revolutionized music production. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of musical instruments. These inventions show how creativity and culture have shaped music across centuries. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Amazing Century for more fascinating stories from the past. See you in the next video.